Out here, there's no one way of doing things, no unwritten rules, and no shortage of adventure. Because out here, the only requirement is having fun. Bank of America invites kids 6 to 18 to golf with us. For a limited time, sign them up for a free 1-year membership, giving them access to discounted tee times at thousands of courses. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/golf with us. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Restrictions apply. See BofA.com/golf with us for complete details. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Welcome back to the Epic Universal Podcast. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill, and this is the podcast where we cover the latest Universal news, rumors, and history. And as always, I'm joined by Eric Hersey, and I'm concerned, Eric. Do we actually have anything to talk about today?
Oh, I don't know, Jim. I don't think today's a historic day or anything in this case. I don't believe it's the first theme park being opened in the Orlando area in 20 some years.
That thing, the Epic Universe, okay, so we're finally here. The actual day of the actual opening. Well, this show, of course, goes up the day after that, but you've been on top of all of this news. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jim. I mean, it's been, here's the thing, is it's funny, maybe for those who are just finally catching up and thinking about Epic for the first time, but we've been covering it for over a year now, and there's people that's been covering even longer. So to me, this park has seemed open for quite some time. I mean, literally, I've been in the park, Jim.
There you go.
But today is the official opening date where there is actually anyone and everyone that could have bought a ticket can go in. You don't need any special provisions. They no longer have those signs that say they're in technical rehearsals. And last night, which would have been the 21st, there was the blue carpet ceremony, which we'll talk about, and all types of fun stuff. And we have friends that's been in the park and kind of doing the media stuff. So
we have, in fact, Mr. Testa, in fact, just to sort of tease out, folks are going to want to check next week's Disney Dish, because Len actually sat down with one of the creatives on Monsters Unleashed and has some decorating tips, just in case you want to turn your manor house into a laboratory where you control monsters.
That's not safe talking to Len about that, because I've seen Len actually do that work. He actually had a kitchen that was based off of a theme park attraction. So
all true. All true. All right. Well, then it sounds like we have lots of news to cover. And as kind of an interesting feature this week, we're going to take a look back at when Universal added a second theme park, Islands of Adventure, and how that kind of went sideways. But for now, let's avoid that topic. We're going to celebrate Epic Universe, the opening of that. And before we do that, we have to acknowledge our sponsors. And those are, of course, Be Our Guest Vacation. And are you planning your next adventure? Let the experts at Be Our Guest Vacations take care of the details. As a platinum level earmarked travel agency, they provide top tier concierge service for trips to Universal Orlando, Universal Hollywood, the Disney Parks, cruises, and more. So if that sounds like fun to you, get started today at beourguestvacations.com, and be sure to mention that the Epic Universal Podcast sent you. So, all right, Eric, let's start. First and foremost, again, kind of like Disney, Comcast is, when Disney launches something, for example, have you been following the stuff this week out ahead of the opening of Lilo and Stitch in theaters? I mean, Disney is using every arrow in its quill to make sure this movie is opening up. And Comcast did much the same thing with Epic Universe. We had the Today Show broadcasting through there, right?
Right. So I got a text first thing in the morning from my sister who lives in North Carolina, and she's like, Epic, they're on the Today Show. So of course I'm trying to figure out how I can watch it. I don't even think I have cable anymore. I think YouTube Premium or TV or whatever. Trying to find the Today Show where they were broadcasting live pretty much the entire morning. And you can find a lot of these clips online, but they did many segments from the different lands. So it's not anything that people have been following as new, but they did give you some look at the makeup experience. They did get to look at some of the Ministry of Magic area, Super Nintendo. And I think the standout moment is when they had Ygor come join the panel.
Yeah. Which of the females did he turn to and say, "Can I call you Al?"
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of off the leash. That was a very Robin Williams-esque moment and a lot of fun. But at the same time, a lot of folks who've been actually into Dark Universe have said the interactions with the Ygors have been particularly enjoyable.
Yeah, he was kind of even talking about how he was, he thought he had a virus, and it turns out he actually went viral instead. That's kind of the banter he had with the because he has. I mean, truth be told, there's been a lot of character interactions that all his stuff is kind of taken off on TikTok and Reels and YouTube for that matter. So he's a highlight. So getting him on the panel was enjoyable, and once again, that was the clip that they chose for YouTube to kind of share out there. So that big things happening. But yesterday you could not miss, and by yesterday, Wednesday. The 21st, they were on to Today's Show. So if you guys are interested, go head over to YouTube. You'll find a whole bunch of clips like I did.
Cool. Okay, but then of course there was the sort of the opening night event, and blue carpet. We were going with a blue carpet. Is that
listen? That's what they said, and I'm sure they have good explanation of why they called it the blue carpet special. I don't know if it was the color. I'm not quite sure, but that's what they were advertising it. Okay. Did you get to catch any of this, Jim?
No, and it's kind of killing me because they talked with Mark Woodbury, who I know Mark from when he was in charge of Universal Creative, and now he's the big muckety muck. Yeah. I mean, he's literally the chairman and CEO of Universal Experiences, and also it's kind of cool to see that like Warwick Davis, who that might confuse folks from Disney. It's like, wait a minute, Warwick Davis, Star Wars. It's like no. Warwick Davis, Harry Potter, Professor Flitwick. He's actually come out a number of times for Wizarding World Experience. So he was there. Howie Mandel, I don't get as much, but
Well, Jim, I'll tell you, this was, so I did get to catch it. It started at 6 p.m. and it kind of was late, and it was broadcast. And like you mentioned earlier, they had all the arms. Lauren and I were actually waiting. Our son was getting his baseball pictures taken, and that was a huge fiasco. So we sat and we watched this on our phones, and we were scrolling through, and it was funny. At the time, it was 18,000 people were watching the Universal feed on YouTube. And then NBC had it one going, and there was another sister like station. They all were the same feed, but NBC had a solid of like 48 people watching.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, hold on, what's going on? She took a screen grab because we found it very humorous. But Universal, they had everybody kind of watching, so we were watching along. And it lasted, and you could watch it. You could watch it today, and it was a 4-hour long broadcast. I can't say I watched the entire thing. We did watch a lot of pieces. There were moments where they definitely interviewed all types of the creatives. So if you want to hear from the actual people that made this park happen, I'd say it's worth going and seeking out and hearing. You might not be getting cutting edge new things, but you're hearing from the actual people that put this park together. And they had nice little segments. And they, like I said, they had like a carpet area where they had an interviewer with Howie Mandel, and then they had Andy Cohen from like Bravo fame was there. There was all types of individuals on so it was a nice little special. They did make it seem like it was something big, like a big event that you would see as if it was an Oscars or Grammys or what have you. So I'd say seek it out on YouTube. That was something worth at least catching out maybe some of the portions.
Okay, I mean, at the very least, I want to watch the opening of the portal for the Isle of Berk. Kind of interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this on Epic Universe Bristol podcast before, but Nancy had a hip replacement this week. That's actually why I'm not down there for the opening of this park. But we had the physical therapist here at the house, and I swear to God, Eric, this actually happened. The woman volunteered on her own, lifelong Disney fan. Her family goes down every year to Disney, but then she started talking about, well, her son grew up and loved the How to Train Your Dragon movies, and definitely looking forward to the live action movie that's coming out next year. But her family has already planned the trip to Epic Universe because they have to go to this park to go to the Isle of Berk. And it's her 18-year-old son who is this excited about, I get to go to the place that actually has the dragon. So it's like, boy, they chose wisely.
Yeah. I think anybody that's watched the film, and like I said, I just started watching it I just saw it this year. It's my opinion, a top 5 easily animated films all time. I really do enjoy the first one that much, and that's saying something because I've seen a lot of the films over the years. So, but no, that's great properties. Now, did you get to see any of the opening ceremony like of the portals?
No, again, Nancy, we are in her first 48 hours from home, and it's just, I have been doing my Florence Nightingale impression. I'm hoping in the next day or two to finally get to sit down and watch all of this stuff, because again, thanks to BioReconstruct and Alicia Stellar, the Permit Princess, we've been keeping tabs on this project for 5+ years, and now it's here.
Right. So on the grand opening, it was the 20th and 21st. They actually had portal celebrations, and I guess there's like small versions because obviously the park is still. It just opened this morning, and I did get to watch a little bit of some of the live streaming of the part of opening, but they did actually have like the portal celebration. So when Isle of Berk opened up, there was a little show that had Hiccup and all the, the Vikings and so forth. Super Nintendo had Luigi, Mario, Princess Peach, and Donkey Kong kind of come out. And the Wizarding World, that's when they had, Fred and George Weasley, the Phelps twins, and Warwick Davis came out and opened that. It was a little underwhelming from a presentation standpoint, but they had the celebrity there.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Dark Universe, I saw that, and they did show good. Victoria Frankenstein herself came out with Frankenstein, and Ygor was there, and the Bride of Frankenstein, and I believe the Invisible Man. So they all had like their own little. Yes, he was there, and he seems like a character as well.
Oh, just to be clear here, I mean, Eric is not pulling your chain here. It's how they do the Invisible Man in like the 30s movie where he's wrapped in white bandages, he's got sunglasses and a hat on. I mean, it's not a question of they pointed to an empty spot and the Invisible Man is here and his entire family. Look at that, and all the cousins. Hey, how are you?
Right. Well, listen, if budgets ever get tight and they have to cut some of the street performers, they can still pull that one off. I think that's a smart move on their behalf. But I guess they had I got to watch a lot of these via YouTube. So they did like small abbreviated versions this morning, so it wasn't as elaborate, but they did have the characters out there as they kind of opened up the portal. So I don't know. We're going to find out if that's a daily event. I think that would be super cool if they do that in the morning, like how at Magic Kingdom they have like the opening show. I don't know. They definitely could. They might not. Who knows? But we'll see. It's really early to say. We haven't had day 2 yet, so we'll find out.
This is true. But also we had some celebrity sightings, I believe.
Well, yeah, I thought there were some notable people worth at least talking about. So the creator of Mario and Nintendo. Now Miyamoto, like I knew of his name and I know of him, but I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. He was there a couple times this week, and they were showcasing lots of photo of him, obviously kind of watching and looking in Super Nintendo Land. And Danny Elfman, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. The wonderful film composer. Love his work.
Now, did he do the Dark Universe soundtrack? Is that?
I believe he did. That's what And again, that tells you this is a Universal that's paying attention. The same guy who did Nightmare Before Christmas should clearly be the guy who's providing your background music for Dark Universe.
And they're selling vinyls. I saw that today. There was I think they had 500 pressed vinyls. So I imagine that's his soundtrack. So that's one that I wish I would have known about ahead of time when I was down there, because I would have picked that up as a vinyl collector.
Well, welcome to eBay.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he's a WWE superstar, big theme park fan.
There we go.
Big theme park fan, but they're also, one of the things is they're kind of tied to the hip with a lot of their WWE, a lot of their shows and stuff's on Peacock. So it's very smart to have him there, collaboration there, I'm sure. And I know he's a big theme park fan because I've listened to him on podcasts. This name was kind of fun. Tony Baxter was spotted this morning.
Yeah, well, that's a really smart invite on Universal's part. I mean, face it, Baxter was long associated during his stint at Walt Disney Imagineering with some of the more innovative ride shows and attractions to ever be built at a Disney theme park. So to have him there for the opening up of Epic Universe, and I don't know if Universal actively solicited his blessing, but that's a smart invite. Tony's there walking around looking at things. It's like that suggests this is truly next level stuff.
And of course, we buried the lead. Len Test and Drew Taylor were there.
Oh, well, yeah. But again, you leave a back door open, people wander in. All right, this is strictly a security issue. You let the riffraff in.
No,
okay.
Well, I'm excited to hear what they have to say. I'm sure they'll be talking on fine-tuning and Disney Dish as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed and tuning into that, because I think they're going to give you their insight. And they were there for a couple days, right?
They were. They arrived on the 19th, and in theory, well, I literally recorded a show with Len a couple hours before this, so he's back in his place in Celebration right now, and in theory, Mr. Taylor, the exhausted Mr. Taylor, is on yet another plane flying back to LA.
Oh, good. Well, I'm excited to hear about that. Now, this is real time. We're recording this, like we said, the date of, and it's almost about 4:00. So we got about 6 or 7 hours into the first day. So I went to the threads and went to X to see what people are talking about. Have you heard any scuttlebutt, any pros, cons yet? You've been
though I do have an interesting little tidbit from Mr. Testa that I will share at the end here. But what have you heard?
Parks are at BioReconstruct actually showed a really cool overhead shot of the parking lot. They have limited capacity today. It is very dead, mostly walk-ons. So they pretty much made a decision to make sure those who were there for opening day were going to have a good time. A lot of people online are saying the park is actually way more pleasant than even some of the preview days. So I'm pretty sure that the capacity was made such that, hey, we're going to have a good time. The couple of the, issues is that the medallion merchandise, which there was a limited medallion, sold out before the parks even opened today. Everybody bought those during the preview period. So there was lots of people that wanted that. Were not happy. And beyond that, of course, our friends at Battle at the Ministry are not having the greatest of days in terms of there's 3 hour long waits, and they had to empty the queue. And hopefully they'll get this kind of fixed in the coming days, weeks, months. But this is I believe Len even said on Touring Plans on his Instagram, this is his favorite or best ride in Orlando, but it doesn't quite seem like it's the one that's going to be running at capacity.
Okay. Speaking of which, let's share that tidbit. Okay. Supposedly, at full capacity, there will be 17 ride vehicles moving through the Ministry of Magic. I want to say there's 2 in the load area, and then there's 15 moving through the building at any one time. Right now, because of the issues they're having, according to someone that Len has spoken with, they can only run 5 at a time.
Oh, jeez.
So, and again, just I want to stress here that, if we jump back to 2014, they had the exact same issues with Escape to Gringotts. You cannot create an attraction that has this much cutting edge tech and not have operational issues initially. I mean, they will get the hang of this in time. That said, I'm feeling increasingly happy that what with Nancy's issues and schedules and that sort of thing, I'm probably not going to get into Epic till October. So, but it's by then, hey, they'll have their act together,
right?
And I can get on this ride. But yeah, that's 5.
Yeah, and that explains a lot. So I mean, I hang in there. They did say when they emptied the queue, I think they gave everybody that was in queue 2 express passes to anything, just to try to make it right. And it is what it is. But that's that's unfortunate. But it is a tremendous ride, and they will get their stuff together, and things will be running well. But that's the live report right now, Jim, from Epic Universe opening day.
Cool. You did a great job. And like I said, I look forward to some point in the next week actually sitting down, and it won't be live, but I'll watch it. And I'm really looking forward to that opening This Is Burke moment. Really want to see what went on in the portal there. But anyway, if we were to jump back some 26 years to May of 1999, when the second theme park opened there at the Universal Orlando Resort. They had an interesting opening day as well, but to be honest, it was an interesting time for the company, which we will get into when we come back from this break. But first, this.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
And we're back. Okay, so historic day for the Universal Orlando Resort. Brand new theme park, cutting edge tech. People very excited in that market. But it's also worth noting that it was 35 years ago. In fact, next month, June, when Universal Studios Florida first opened, Eric. Not going to lie, they had a kind of tough first summer. A couple of their major attractions for the park, especially Confrontation and, dear Lord, Jaws, the ride, just did not work. And in fact, to this day, if you bring up the opening day of Universal Studios Florida, longtime team members just sort of like, I mean, literally the nightly news that night had footage of people at the ticket booth saying, I want my money back. Not what you want for your opening. But even so, on the heels of that, November of 1990, Matsushita, the Japanese electronic giant, buys MCA for $7.5 billion because it's like, we want to be in Hollywood and we want a Universal Park in Japan. And look, Universal eventually in Florida gets its feet under it. And by May of 1991, Back to the Future, the ride, opens at Universal Studios Florida. You never got the chance to experience that, right?
No. We've done The Simpsons, but we weren't there.
No, that honestly, that at that time, Eric, that was the best ride in all of Florida. In fact, and I say that as somebody who absolutely loves Star Tours, but Back to the Future got it beat. But again, I was a fan of the Back to the Future movies. And if we pivot out to California, May of 1993, City Walk opens at Universal Studios Hollywood. This is an urban entertainment district. You know, it's got 65 entertainment-themed shops, restaurants, and nightclubs, billion-dollar investment. But the community out there almost immediately embraces it. And then just a month after that, the original Jurassic Park comes out. It makes just shy of $1 billion. You know, so it's like, hey, we paid for City Walk with one movie.
Right.
So it's on the heels of all of this success that in September 1993, Universal announces a $2.6 billion expansion of Universal Studios Florida. It's going to include a second theme park, 5 on-site hotels, a golf course, and hey, look, our most recent success, a City Walk-style retail complex. And then the kicker, 1 month later, Jaws the ride reopens and the shark finally works.
Oh, there you go.
So it's like, woohoo!
Who would have thought you need a working shark for the Jaws ride?
What a shocking idea. Okay. Anyway, we now jump ahead to 1994. And remember, Matsuhita, one of the reasons they bought MCA is they wanted a Universal theme park in Japan. And this is when it gets announced. A $1.4 billion project to be built in Osaka, their first international park. So this is Universal coming for Disney in both Orlando and Japan. But that said, April of 1995, the executives of Matsuhita, they've kind of had their fill of studio politics, and they turn around and sell MCA to Seagrams for $5.7 billion. They were so determined to get out of Hollywood at that point, they took a $1.8 billion loss.
That bad, huh, Jim? That bad.
Yeah,
they wanted out that bad.
Yeah, they went toe to toe with Lou Wasserman and lost. Okay, now November of 1995. Remember, we found out in 93 we're going to get our expansion in Florida. But here's the thing, change management. We have new folks, and so now we start overthinking things. Suddenly it's like, oh, no. Orlando's not going to have a city walk. It's going to have an E-zone, as in an entertainment zone. It's a 12-acre, $200 million complex. And the anchor of this place is going to be Shaq's place. It's a 31,000 square foot giant nightclub for a giant. That's literally what it says in the press release. And you can kind of get it. Shaq joined the Orlando Magic in 1992. He was actually the Rookie of the Year for the season 92-93. He leads the team to the NBA Finals in 95. So, okay, this all makes sense. However, July of 1996, Shaq signs a multi-year deal with the Lakers, and Shaq's place kind of falls off of the A-zone. Disney, on the other hand, is looking, okay, they're going urban over at City Walk. I got it. Okay, so this is why suddenly Disney goes from having a Disney shopping village to a downtown Disney. It's September of 1996. They get that going. We see the expansion on the west side. That's when we get Cirque du Soleil. And then again, there's going to be a theme here, folks. March of 1997, on the heels of Shaq exiting the E-zone, it's like, oh, wait a minute, we need to change its name. Okay, now it is gonna be a city walk, and boy. Okay. There will be more name changes in a moment, folks, but first this.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay, courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're back. All right. So we now know, again, announced in 93, we're going to get a second theme park in Florida. But what is this theme park going to be? Well, it's revealed in 97 that it's going to be Islands of Adventure. And just the park itself, all by itself, is $1.6 billion, which, not to put too fine a point on it, when Animal Kingdom opened the year after this, 1998, that was just $600 million. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you're spending $1 billion more on the second gate. But we have 5 islands built around a central lagoon. And we have well-known IPs. We have, for example, Marvel Superhero Island. We have a favorite of the Hersey family, Seuss's Landing, which, by the way, was intended to be this theme park's Fantasyland. And again, as we've talked about in recent episodes of the Epic Universal podcast, the Jurassic Park Discovery Center, I'm trying hard not to say visitor center, that was supposed to be this theme park's castle. You're supposed to see on the other side of the lagoon and go, ooh, I want to go there. Now, in this exact same window of time, Universal decides that, well, we're spending a lot of money and we need, a new identity. And so they make a decision to change the name of the whole property to Universal City, Florida. Which is interesting because if we go all the way back to July of 1981, which is when MCA first announced that they were going to build something in Florida, that's what this was called, Universal City, Florida. It was going to be a $170 million clone of their successful studio tour out in California. 423 acres, just 10 miles north of where Disney had built Disney World. In fact, a decade earlier, 1971. And what was kind of interesting, Eric, is even at this point, things were starting to get out of control because the initial press recounts were, well, when Universal was first talking about this project, it was $100 million. And now it's the price of building it has increased to 170. And in fact, when the park did finally open in June of 1990, in kind of the Disney World tradition, which again, itself, the whole resort went from costing $100 million to $400 million. The cost of building this theme park went from $170 million to $600 million.
Very good at this math thing, are they?
No, I mean, just it's building in Florida, and in the middle of this, Disney announces, remember, this is 1981. It's not till January of 1985 that Michael Eisner goes, oh, by the way, we're building a studio theme park, and suddenly you have to outspend Disney. But where this gets bizarre is March 26, 1998. All right. And remember, this is just 5 months after we've learned that, okay, so Universal has changed the name of what it's doing in Florida to Universal City, Florida. It's like, no, wait. Suddenly, we're not just a single theme park anymore. We are a multi-day destination resort. We're going to have hotels. We're going to have not an E-Zone, but a City Walk. We need a name that sounds exotic. And I do not get this, that evidently on the back of what is it called? Sandals? Didn't there used to be like a destination? Okay. Someone at Universal goes, well, that's successful. Sandals. We need a name like that. And somebody comes up, well, all right, you're going on vacation. You're escaping your day-to-day life. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. Universal Studios Escape. And they, Eric, right now you can go and look at the logo. In fact, what I love about it is that the little trademark symbol on there. I mean, they were so serious and so proud of this Universal Studios Escape name. But the logo is very stylized. It has like the universal globe and the lighthouse that serves as the icon for islands. And what it just does not clearly get across is that this now $3 billion resort. And by the way, that's up from the 2.6 billion they mentioned earlier. It's not just a single theme park anymore. And again, 2 theme parks, hotels, nighttime entities. But again, the Universal Studios Escape name, nobody understands it. But here's the thing: Seagrams, again, which bought Universal, is so confident that this is all going to work. September of 1998, they turn around and buy 1,800 acres of land from Lockheed, just up the street, across from the Orange County Convention Center, for $200 million, where, Eric, there is now room for 2 more theme parks, a golf course, even more hotels. And then just a month after that, Seagram's turned around and buys Wet and Wild. Not just the one that's on iDrive, they buy the entire chain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, just so they were so eager to get their hands on the mother park in Orlando. It's like, all right, we'll take them all. And it's like, I mean, it's like this drunken sailor just slamming down money because it's like, oh, just wait till next year, pal. When we open Universal Studios Escape, the world's gonna be the path to our door. So. Anyway, we've talked about the TV commercials that are done in support of it. And don't get me wrong, they are wonderful ads. I mean, I love, for example, the one of the kid on the plane flying into Orlando. He looks out the window and there's Spider-Man and Doc Ock fighting on the wing. Or we were just talking on last week's show about the Triceratops that comes running out of the bush and snatches the Frisbee out of there. There are wonderful, entertaining commercials, but they tell you absolutely nothing about what Universal has just built in Florida. Just sort of, that's nice. So this is a ride? And it's like, no, it's a whole, oh my God, it's a resort. It's 2 theme parks, it's hotels. And this thing opens in May of 1999. And Eric, it went south so fast that Seagrams turns around and sells MCA Universal to Vivendi. After spending all of that money, it's like, yeah, okay, we don't know what we're doing. We're getting out of this business. But here's the thing. Vivendi, again, buys it from Seagrams for $34 billion, which includes $9 billion worth of debt, which is jumping ahead in the story here, folks. That effectively sinks the deal very early on. But it's 1 month later that as soon as the Vivendi folks get in and look what's going on, they change the name. They change the name from Universal Studios Escape to now the Universal Orlando Resort. This sort of rebranding, particularly just one, what is it? That's 14 months after the park opens.
Right.
Okay. Here's the thing. You got to think, folks, that's not just a question of, all right, go outside, go out front, you change the sign out on the street. It's like, no. That's business cards. That's letterhead. That's every piece of merch you have in your stores that says Universal Studios Escape. Not to mention the highway signs, out on I-4. And by the way, from a Disney insider, if you're wondering what this sort of thing could cost, when Disney did this in January 2008, when they changed the name of their third theme park, Disney MGM, to Disney's Hollywood Studios, it cost them $7 million to make that name change.
That's one park, Jim. That's
that's it exactly. And for me, the kicker, the absolute kicker for this story is December of 2022. Universal Escape returns, sort of. Kind of. We get in City Walk, no less, the Universal Great Movie Escape. attraction where there are 2 escape rooms, one themed to Back to the Future, one to Jurassic Park. Have you and Lauren done this yet?
No,
Or?
I've never even done an escape room. I don't know if I would enjoy that. I think the anxiety of that would probably drive me crazy, trying to figure that in puzzles and teamwork. Who wants any of that? But no, we passed it, and I believe there's it gets pretty high praise, does it not?
It does. My understanding is particularly the Back to the Future one is very enjoyable, and I not to belabor the obvious, but the anxiety of, oh, by the way, if you don't solve the Jurassic Park one, the dinosaur eats you. No pressure,
right?
I don't know. I would actually like to. I'll tell you what, if we could finally coordinate it so the 2 of us are down there, maybe you, me, Lauren. In fact, we should definitely bring along Hunter, Miles, and Laney. They're probably smart enough to actually figure
we'll
out
put them to work. Yeah,
there we go.
I'll have you tell us stories, and they'll be over there solving the problems.
Well, here we can hope.
Really, tell me about the first escape and how it was a miserable failure.
So again, poor Island Adventure, because nobody knew that they'd actually opened a new park because of this weird name, had a rough year or two. Now, mind you, the story ends happily. In fact, there is the story of when Comcast effectively, I think it's GE that then buys out Vivendi, and then Comcast, which then buys out GE. But they start the process of buying Universal in 2009. And by the time the deal is finalized and Comcast can finally get a look at Universal's books, that's when the very first Wizarding World is opened in Islands.
Yeah.
And the folks at Comcast are you kidding me? You recovered the entire cost of turning this chunk of lost continent, which, by the way, $140 million to build, to transform that chunk. Said you got it all back in one summer on butterbeer. It's like, and it was just one of these things. I love this business. We are absolutely, we are getting in the Harry Potter business. We are getting in the Universal theme park business. And that's where we are today. When you look at that park, Epic Universe, that's the thing. You have a company, Comcast, that they believe so solidly in this business, they have turned on the money fire hose. And not just here. Remember, later this summer, we'll see the Universal Horror Unleashed in Vegas. Yep. Next year in Frisco, Texas, we're going to see their first regional park, Universal Kids. Don't be all that surprised if you hear something about a second gate in, Beijing, let alone what they're building in the UK. And, don't get me wrong, Bob Ygor, fairly confident with his big pile of Dubai, Abu Dhabi money. I keep saying Disney Dubai because that's where they were going to build once upon a time. But anyway, there we go, folks. I feel better for the folks at Universal because, again, they got snake bit with the opening of Park Number 1 in 1990, and then Islands opened under a cloud in 1999. And let's be honest, Ministry of Magic, not working as well as it could, but everything else sounds tremendous.
Yeah.
So very, very, very much looking forward to getting into this park in October, after they get those other 15 cars or so running through the Ministry of Magic.
No, well, thanks, Jim. That was the curious nature, because I go online and I look for opening of Islands of Adventure, and there is a photo that shows a just line of people waiting from City Walk. But that was the line of people when they opened up the Harry Potter section. So
that's it exactly. That's it exactly. They proudly display that. In fact, I want to say that's backstage. That's also in where you do the VIP tour thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, they point to that line like, yeah, the world changed in 2010 when we opened that. And as Len was saying just today, that when we were recording the latest Disney Dish, he and friends, they had closed the park yesterday afternoon around 3, but he got to linger in 1920s Paris, and they were doing a lunch in the Ministry of Magic thing, and he said, Food is amazing. Nobody's ever built anything on this scale before. And it's like, and they'll figure out the ride. It'll still, everybody who's going to Orlando is going to have to go to this park. It's the gold standard. And, but again, upside for Disney fans, that's the beauty of an arms race.
Yeah,
Disney has to step up its game. And this is a Disney that reluctantly, but it's turning on the money fire hose too. So we're all going to benefit.
Absolutely. So congratulations, everybody out there, any team members listening. Congratulations opening up a theme park. And congratulations, everybody that's made it through the last year of Epic talk over and over. That's what we've done. There are some people that have some Epic fatigue. I understand it does seem like it's been open for a while, but now we're going to get a lot more, and we'll see how they operate this park and what changes, right, Jim? Because you've reminded us many times that just because you open this way doesn't mean that's going to stay this way. So stay with us.
No.
And we'll be tracking it week over week to figure out what's been changing and what's going on. But Jim, we made it.
We did. We got here, and more to the point, again, I love the fact you've been in the park. You and the family, and just I have to admit, I will look forward to visiting park with you, because you can do kind of like when we did. What was it? Jollywood Nights at Disney with Chrissy. She had gone to opening night.
Yeah.
And she spent the entire night we were in there. It's like, it wasn't like this before. They changed that. So
right. Well, hopefully they keep it a lot the same, because I did enjoy our time there. But
very cool.
Oh, thanks, Jim, for taking us back to the last park opening.
And likewise, thank you for gathering all those stories for opening day. Again, if I ever actually get any free time you get off nursing duty, I'll go check out those 4 hours of opening portals.
Well, there you go. Well, I've been sharing a couple of those things out on social, so if you guys want to follow along with us, you can find me at Eric Hersey on most of the social platforms. Jim, what about you?
Let's see. You can find me on X and Instagram at Jim Hill Media, and then over on Facebook at Jim Hill Media News. And that is going to wrap things up for today, folks. So thanks for listening, and stick around to find out what's coming up this month on the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to today's episode. And if you like what you heard, head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. This really helps get the word out about our shows. We also have some other shows on the network that you might like. Each week, we drop a brand new Disney dish with Luntesta. For animation and movie news, please listen to Fine Tuning with Drew Taylor. By the way, you can also check out Drew's other podcast, Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast, which he does with Charles Hood. For all things Lucasfilm, why don't you subscribe to Looking at Lucasfilm with Brian Gahn? Likewise, we have I Want That Too with the lovely Lauren Hersey, our weekly podcast that features the latest merch and the stories behind that merch. And our Epic Universal podcast takes a look at the Universal theme park. So please join Eric Hersey and I on that weekly. If you enjoy theme park history, we also host Manufacturing the Magic with Shelley and Noah Valladolid. That podcast tells the story of how we got the modern theme parks that we enjoy today. Join myself, Len Testa, and veteran Imagineer Jim Schul for our latest season of Disney Unpacked, our first ever video series exclusively for Patreon. These get released first Sunday of every month, and each month we release several exclusive podcasts to help support this video series. I want to thank everyone that supports the Jim Hill Media Network. For more information about podcasts and content, head on over to jimhillmedia.com. So that's going to do it for now, folks. Thanks again for listening, and we will catch up on the next show.